Well, how you doing, folks? Welcome to another one of my video diary uh, in London. About it's about 2020. Well, we live in 2020. It's really about how I feel and how I see things. Not necessarily following any uh, government line or any political line. It's my line, the way I see things. Well, let me give you location. Where are we? We are in Finsbury Park, and Finsbury Park is in north side of London. Um, it's close to the central part, but it's not outer London. It's closer to the center of London, uh, but it's on the north side. Finsbury Park is a tube station, which is only a couple of hundred meters away. So you can, depending on what part of the world you're in, you can actually see where this is done, the location, where this is done. And if you're good with Google Maps and the Google mapping of the world, you can see the area and the location. Today is a Friday the 20th of November. I'm going to repeat that. Friday the 20th of November. The time now is about 3:30 p.m. Obviously it's in the afternoon because it's daylight. It could be 3:30 p.m. at night and it'd be very dark, but 3 p.m. in the afternoon in Finsbury Park. The temperature is about 10 degrees, but with the wind blowing, it'll probably bring it down to about 7 degrees, maybe lower. And if you could see the vapor, if you could see the vapor, I don't know if you can. For me, that means the temperature is under 10 degrees, and every time I can see the vapor caused by the breathing vapor. The weather condition, it's raining, not heavily but mild. This camera is meant to be, well, it has a waterproof casing, but it isn't on. I've just got a little covering over it at the moment. If you hear little clicks, that is the raindrops falling on certain things. I could hear little clicks. You might not be able to hear it. It's actually falling on the newspaper I've got here. So, Finsbury Park, Friday, 20th of November, 2020, time 3:30 p.m. Weather overcast, raining, miserable. Climatic condition, we're in autumn, going into winter. More the ending of autumn, going into winter. Various things are happening. Let me take today's paper. Well, not today's paper, this evening's paper. This has just come out. This is the Evening Standard. Don't know if you can see it. PM under fire, sticking with Priti Patel. Now, this is because Prime Minister Boris Johnson is sticking next. Oh, by the way, the editor of this newspaper used to be the Chancellor for the John Osborne is his second name. The Chancellor, he was the Chancellor of the Exchequer. Is it Chancellor of the Exchequer? Anyway, he handled the money for the government. Now he's editing the paper. Got to appreciate what he did when he was actually in office, because he managed to put a hold on social housing rent going up in price. It goes up by 2% every year, and he put a hold on it for about 4 years. and this year that had come to an end, and my landlords have actually sent me a rent increase of 35%. Yes, 35%. That's because the government minister at the time, who's now editing the Evening Standard, Johnny Osborne. Is it Johnny Osborne? Anyway, his second name is Osborne. You know, when you're on camera, you get nervous. You forget things. So he had that on hold. He had passed a mandate that no rent increase for 4 years, and now these social. Now I don't know what it is for other people or what it is in your case, but all of a sudden they made an application for a 35% increase in my rent, and I'm actually going through some negotiations and communications with the landlord and with a government body that's supposed to implement that. If you've currently got accommodation, social housing, if you got social housing either from government or from whatever housing association, that won't apply to you. But because I've had mine a long time ago, it applies to me. So it means market rent, you'll be paying market rent, and market rent is very, very expensive. Well, it's expensive in relation to your income. If you're earning the money, then you can pay the rent. If you're on low income, then you're going to have a lot of problems and a lot of stress. And a lot of jobs that's been created are all low income standard, low income wage. America, one of the candidates who was vying for the American election was advocating that $15 in America would be the low basic income. The minimum wage should go up to that, but the minimum wage in the UK is something like £8.50. I think outside, I think £10.50 around that now is the London living wage. Now that's if you can get that, you know. The other thing is that's if you can get the job. And a lot of jobs created today because government have actually farmed out or given out contracts to these companies, G4S and with the national health and all this testing, and these companies would employ you, but it would employ you at minimum wage. So it's not that there's a great amount of job creation, it's that these companies are floated companies and they're there to make a profit. They're there to make a profit out of your labor, right? And so they will pay you the minimum wage, right, which is just about survivable in certain situations. Actually, it's just about survivable for you to go home, eat, pay the rent, and come back to work again. If anything else major happens in your life, you got loads of problems. And this is where you have to use your credit card or what do you call it, the bank. You get an extension overdraft, you know, and some people are constantly in overdraft. They're constantly in arrears, you know, and this is a sign of the world. But from Osborne, the Chancellor of the Exchequer, Rishi, who's an Indian guy now who's in charge of that, and back to the front page there, Priti Patel. Now, the reason why I've shown you that is that she's of Indian origin. Some might call her black, but it's one of the biggest things in the political news at the moment. that she is head of the Home Office, and she's been rather, I don't know, aggressive or thing towards other workers, and they didn't like it. Now, there's a thing called systemic, institutional, and historical racism. It never gets mentioned. They say, oh, you just, moaning, oh, you just, you got a chip on your shoulder. But this is all part of this whole scenario. Priti Patel has a high-level government job right next to the Prime Minister, and she has to oversee some of these administrators who've been in government for a long time, who are the institutional, systemic, and historical racism instigators, right? So not only we as black folks have to fight that, and listen to this, black means born of slavery. This is my interpretation, right? I am of African origin, right? There's no land called black. When you're called black, it actually it takes away your connection with Africa. It takes away the connection and the power of Africa. Priti Patel, you're called black because her legacy, India, has been under the colonial rule, and I am not quite too sure about the history of India, but in relation to the slavery thing. But whereas in the Caribbean, when the slaves was given freedom and wouldn't do the work, they brought the Indians in and the Chinese, right? And there's a legacy and there's a history there. But calling Priti Patel Asian takes her away from her core and who she is, right? The power of India. India is a beautiful, strong, and powerful place. It has, in fact, it's about the second most manufacturing powerhouse in the world. The second most. The first most is China. Everybody else fall behind. Everybody gets their goods from either China or India, right? Now see, China or India, not Asia. When you say Asia, you are disconnecting them from their source. You're doing it deliberately, right? So that they don't connect with India. They do not connect with China. India and China, it's 1.5 billion people in China, and about the same in India. They're the biggest population, each one of them, on the planet, right? Look at that power. And what do? You call them Asia because you don't want to connect with India. You don't want to connect with China because of power. You call us black because you don't want to connect with Africa, because Africa is a massive 52 countries in that continent, strong and powerful, and where a lot of the world's resources lie, minerals, right? Not to mention the other parts of Africa. People call the Middle East, where there's the oil, where European interest would send in armies and destroy certain dictatorship in order for this oil to be kept flowing here in the UK. But so that's Priti Patel. That is headline news. The institutional, systemic, and historical racism is there. It will be denied. It was always denied. It was denied from day one. Oh, you don't know what you're talking about. You're not very good at your job. We hear it all the time. It's only when it's caught on camera, then they admit it. George Floyd, knee on my neck, and I heard that the same police officers that knelt on his neck and held him down are the same police officers. He was working, and he's working with security. I don't remember. You remember my last webcast? I had a squirrel. Well, the squirrel is back in the background there. I don't know. You probably can see it. but I just leave the squirrel to get on with its thing. It's shaking up a bit there. It's a beautiful thing about being out there in the park. I'm sure you can see people milling around in the background. I mean, I could have had a static background for you, but at least there is some motion, activity, people. I can hear some rumblings in that dustbin over there. I think the squirrel is. You see the squirrel? Admin? Can I tease it to come over? It's behind me. I don't want to move the camera because any sudden movement, then it would run off. Where is it? Oh, it's behind me. As you see, there's a squirrel. Let me keep that squirrel in the background. So yeah, systemic, institutional, and historical racism. It's good to have a squirrel in the shot. And got to tighten these things. Yeah. Go down a bit. In shot. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, this is autumn for you, and autumn the squirrel comes out, as you can see. Right, the leaves are on the floor, and it's kind of, yeah. So institutional, systemic racism, and they always say to us, you don't know what you're talking about. Oh, I can see another squirrel. Is it the same squirrel, or you move very quickly? Really has moved quickly. Where's he gone? Oh, he's up. This one's up the tree. There's another squirrel there. Scratch out. So I've got two squirrels. One at the back of the camera, and one has gone up the tree. No, he's on the ground there. Hope you can see it. It's moving around. Right. Yeah. So institutional. So why do I do these video diary? Well, part of it is actually I don't really plan it so much. I'm just gonna have a drink there. Don't really plan it so much. It's part of a practice to get into doing a regular broadcast. The discipline that's needed, the technical things that you got to get ready. If I don't put too much planning in it at the moment. When you do, you'll find that there's a lot more energy, there's a lot more precision, research the details and information. So I just do this, I just decide to take a walk, carry the camera with me. Today I was a little bit more disciplined to do some things. Where is it? There's no movement. Today is a little bit disciplined to do more things. Let me turn this to the angle that I wanted, which is about there. I think I'm still in shot. Yeah. So it's about getting a routine, a system, research, preparing technically beforehand, preparing technically afterwards, uploading it. There's no editing. It's not that I hate editing. I mean, I could edit to perfection. I work with many people. I've got many people who do things for me, and this is also to show them what is needed, because even though I do it with great ease, there's a lot of experience and a lot of experience and a lot of different skills. I'm not going to say a lot of skills. There's a lot of different skills involved. Technical skills, sound. It's about 3:30. going up to 4 o'clock, we're losing the light. I'm sure there's enough light for you to see me, and it's overcast and it's raining. So working in the environment, the technical aspect of working with that, the camera is actually at eye level, right? Usually, sometimes I have it looking up. I don't have it looking down, but this, I think you'll agree, is the best angle. Also, I hope I've got it because I haven't got a monitor here. It's on the end third of on the screen there. So there's a lot of things that go into it. It isn't just chuck a camera up and everything happens, right? So the technical aspect, also the presentation aspect, there's a lot of that. So part of this, me doing this, is about getting into the routine of things and the discipline of things and the time and energy. Back to the current situation, we are in the middle of a pandemic, and we're here in London, UK, North Finsbury Park, and today, 20th of November 2020, we have been on a more serious lockdown from the 5th of November. So this is about 15 days, and serious lockdown though it is, 2/3 of the shops, non-essential shops, are closed. Walking down here today is like a Sunday. All the shops are. Supermarkets are open. No pubs are open. No restaurants are open. The exception is if you are doing takeaway, you can be open. You can still go to work, right? You're advised not to take London transport. You can't meet more than one person of your family inside. You can't meet more than one person of your family outside. You can't exercise. The gyms are closed. All the entertainment things are closed. I have now kind of normalized a bit to this phase of the lockdown. So this is they call it the second lockdown, and I'm okay. I'm okay. But there are people out there, because this has been going on for like about, let's say, 9 months now, and some people it's really getting to them mentally, because those people have stuck to the rules 100%, and they really don't know. They don't understand the situation. They don't understand any situation. All they're doing is following government rules. And if you're from the vulnerable group, you have an ailment or a immune, something that affects your immune, then you're advised to lock down, stay in, don't go out, don't meet people, and to be locked away and no contact with anybody. There are those things happening. Even I've heard of cases of people committing suicide. Now, a bit doubtful over that, but it's been said by a couple of news media, people are doing that. One of the sad things is that all people in nursing homes cannot see their loved ones, or their loved ones cannot see their grandmother or their grandfather in the nursing homes, and because of the lack of human communication and contact, some of them are deteriorating mentally and physically, and some have deteriorated and passed away. So that's a very sad part of this coronavirus 2020. One of the biggest things to hit the news in recent days, last 5-6 days, is a vaccine. and everybody, it hit the headline, and everybody is saying, yeah, it's a fantastic thing. But here's my point: when you do get the vaccine, how long does it take for it to be effective? Now, does it take 2 weeks? Now, I hear it's actually in 2 parts, and it's actually so I might be incorrect. So it's in 2 parts. So a month later, you get the first part. A month later, you get the second part. And does it take another month again for this vaccine now to be fully working in your body? Now, none of these vaccines are available. We are on the 20th of November. Media, news, everyone's saying by December, which is like a couple of weeks' time, and it will be available. Here's what: I don't think it's going to be available. It's good to give you a mental boost, and even if it is available and you get it, does it take 2 weeks to get active? And if that's 2 weeks, we're into Christmas, or does it take 2 months? And if it takes 2 months, we'll be into January. And talking about next week is Thanksgiving in America. Now that is going to be really, really interesting, because everybody, it's one of the biggest. It's a bigger holiday than Christmas for some people. And then we have what's it called, Black Friday, where everybody storms to the. It's a bank holiday in America. I know that, and that weekend everybody goes to the stores. These pre-Christmas bargains, and we've seen over the years people are fighting, not only in the US but over here in the UK. But the governor of New York has more or less said that oh, we got 2 squirrels fighting. I wonder what you're fighting over. Yeah. Anyway, so the governor says, well, there'll be strict restrictions. I don't know what the restrictions are. It means you can't mix, basically. And last news I heard, it will be enforced. So it's going to be very interesting, the Thanksgiving, right? So after Thanksgiving, you give it 14 days. So the first week in December, you'll see if the infection rate has gone up, in America with this virus. Me personally, we are now in the thick of it, and what that means is that for me, it's the worst period. We've got the most infected people, and we're gonna get more people infected again, right? This is where it's hammer time for the virus. Then they can touch that. So you can lock people away, but when they come out, especially in this November, December, you see, it's raining, it's miserable, it's raining. So all the sicknesses, the winter sicknesses, add to the virus. It's party time for the virus. But some people don't take it seriously. All through this second lockdown, and even the first lockdown, some people have never taken it seriously. And if the children are still going to school, and people are still going to colleges, and you're still going to work, it seems like a form of normality. The only restrictions are you can't mix socially. And I think behind the scene people are mixing socially. That's why the virus has got out of hand. But people are mixing at work. People are mixing, they're mixing at school, right? And for how they tell you the virus propagates, that's some interesting nature things going on here. We've got some magpies, and we've got squirrel, magpies have a thing in history of coming and nick things. So maybe they see something they want to come and nick. Now I've got loads of things to talk about today, but it doesn't seem I am gonna get to do that because it's raining and it's getting dark, and I think it's going to get dark very, very quickly. So how can I conclude? What I'll do, I'll conclude today. What can I say? So this is where we're at. We are in the second, third week of the lockdown. Next week it's meant to be lifted. I don't think it's going to be lifted. I'll repeat that. I don't think next week is going to be lifted because they have to lock down even harder again, because we are in the whole stronger season. I tell you what, the rain is coming down. I'll say bye for now. I'll switch off the camera. I'll find another place and come back on where I'm a little bit more comfortable. But if I don't come back on, see you on the next video vlog.